Emerald City of Oz. Elf King. The Elf King was in an angry mood, and at such times he was very unpleasant. Everyone stayed away from him, even his chief steward, Kaliko. The king stormed and raved all by himself, walking up and down in his jewel-studded cavern and getting angrier all the time. Then he remembered that it was no fun being angry unless he had someone to make miserable, and he rushed to his big gong and banged it as loud as he could. In came the chief steward, trying not to show the Elf King how surprised he was. "Send the chief counselor here," shouted the angry monarch. Kaliko ran out as fast as his spindly legs could carry his fat round body, and soon the chief counselor entered the cavern. The king scowled and said to him, "I'm in great trouble over the loss of my magic belt. Every time I want to do something magical, I can't because the belt is gone. This makes me angry, and when I'm angry, I can't have a good time. What do you advise?" "Some people," said the chief counselor, "enjoy getting angry." "Not all the time," declared the king. "To be angry once in a while is good fun, because it makes others so miserable. But to be angry morning, noon, and night is boring, and it prevents any other pleasure in life. What do you advise?" If you are angry because you want to do magical things and can't, and if you don't want to get angry at all, my advice to you is to stop wanting to do magical things. The king glared at his counselor with a furious expression and pulled at his whiskers until he yelled in pain. "You are a fool," he exclaimed. "I share that honor with your majesty," said the chief counselor. The king roared with rage and stamped his foot. "Guards," he cried, "come here." And when the guards arrived, the king said, "Take this worthless chief counselor and throw him out." The guards took the chief counselor, bound him with chains, and threw him out. The king paced up and down his cavern more angry than before. Finally, he rushed to his big gong and made it bang like thunder. Kaliko appeared again, trembling and white with fear. "Fetch my pipe," yelled the king. "Your pipe is already here, your majesty," replied Kaliko. "Then get my tobacco," roared the king. "The tobacco is in your pipe, your majesty," replied the steward. "Then bring a live coal from the furnace," commanded the king. "The tobacco is lit, and your majesty is already smoking your pipe," answered the steward. "Why, so I am," said the king, who had not noticed, and then went on, "You are very rude to remind me of it." "I am a low-born, miserable fool," declared the chief steward, as humbly as possible. The Elf King could think of nothing to say next, so he puffed away at his pipe and paced up and down the room. Finally, he remembered how angry he was and cried out, "What do you mean, Kaliko, by being so content when your monarch is unhappy?" "What makes you happy?" asked the steward. "I've lost my magic belt. A girl named Dorothy was here with Ozma of Oz. She stole my belt and took it with her," said the king, grinding his teeth with rage. "I think she captured it in a fair fight," Kaliko ventured to say, "but I want it. I must have it. My power is gone without that belt," roared the king. "You will have to go to the land of Oz to find it. There is no way to get to Oz," said the steward. He yawned because he had been on duty for 3 days straight and was sleepy. "Why not?" asked the king. "Because there is a deadly desert all around that fairy country. No one can cross it. You know that fact as well as I do, your majesty. You will have to forget the lost belt. You have plenty of power left. You rule this underground kingdom like a tyrant. Thousands of elves obey your command. I advise you to drink a glass of melted silver, quiet your nerves, and go to bed." The king grabbed a big ruby and threw it at Kaliko's head. The steward ducked, and it crashed against the door just over his head. "Get out of my sight. Go, and send General Blug here," screamed the Elf King. Kaliko quickly left, and the Elf King stomped up and down until the general of his army appeared. This elf was known far and wide as a terrible fighter and a cruel commander. He had 50,000 elf soldiers, all well trained, who feared nothing but their master. Yet, General Blug was a bit uncomfortable when he arrived and saw how angry the Elf King was. "Ha! So you're here," cried the king. "So I am," said the general. "March your army at once to the land of Oz, capture and destroy the Emerald City, and bring back my magic belt," roared the king. "You're crazy," calmly remarked the general. What? What's that?" said the Elf King, as he danced around on his pointed toes. He was so enraged. "You don't know what you're talking about," continued the general, sitting down on a large cut diamond. "I advise you stand in a corner and count to 60 before you talk again. By that time, you may be more sensible." The king looked around for something to throw at the general, but nothing was handy, and he began to consider that perhaps the man was right, and he had been talking foolishly. So, he threw himself into his glittering throne, and tipped his crown over his ear, and curled his feet up under him, and glared wickedly at Blug. "To start," said the general, "we cannot march across the deadly desert to the land of Oz. And, if we could, the ruler of that country, Princess Ozma, has certain fairy powers that would render my army helpless. Had you not lost your magic belt, we might have some chance of defeating Ozma. But the belt is gone." "I want it back," screamed the king. "I must have it back." "Well, then, let us try in a sensible way to get it," replied the general. "The belt was captured by a girl named Dorothy, who lives in Kansas, in the United States of America. But she left it in the Emerald City with Ozma," declared the king. "How do you know that?" asked the general. "One of my spies, a blackbird, flew over the desert to the land of Oz and saw the magic belt in Ozma's palace," replied the king with a groan. "Now, that gives me an idea," said General Blug thoughtfully. "There are 2 ways to get to the land of Oz without traveling across the sandy desert." "What are they?" demanded the king eagerly. "One way is to go over the desert, through the air, and the other way is to go under the desert, through the earth." Hearing this, the Elf King cried in joy and leapt from his throne to resume his wild walk up and down the cavern. "Now you're thinking, Blug," he shouted. "That's the idea. I'm king of the underworld, and my subjects are all miners. I'll make a secret tunnel under the desert to the land of Oz. Yes, right up to the Emerald City, and you will march your armies there and capture the whole country." "Easy, easy, your majesty. Don't go too fast," warned the general. "My elves are good fighters, but they are not strong enough to conquer the Emerald City." "Are you sure?" asked the king. "Absolutely certain, your majesty." "Then what am I to do?" "Give up the idea and mind your own business," advised the general. "You have plenty to do to rule your underground kingdom." "But I want that magic belt, and I'm going to have it," roared the king. "I'd like to see you get it," replied the general, laughing. The king was by this time so exasperated that he picked up his scepter, which had a heavy ball made of sapphire at the end of it, and threw it with all his force at General Blug. The sapphire hit the general on his forehead and knocked him flat on the ground, where he lay motionless. Then the king hit the gong and told his guards to drag out the general and throw him away, which they did. This Elf King was named Rokat the Red, and no one loved him. He was bad and a powerful monarch, and he had resolved to destroy the land of Oz and its magnificent Emerald City to enslave Princess Ozma, Dorothy, and all of the Oz people in order to recover his magic belt. This same belt had once enabled the Elf King to carry out wicked plans, but that was before Ozma and her people marched to the underground cavern and captured it. The Elf King could not forgive Dorothy or Princess Ozma, and he wanted revenge. However, no one knew they had a dangerous enemy plotting against them. Ozma and Dorothy had both almost forgotten that the Elf King still lived, under the mountains of the land of Eve, which lay just across the deadly desert to the south of the Land of Oz. An unsuspected enemy sometimes can be even more dangerous.